as Carlos said, my name is Juan Peralta. I'm from a small country next to Panama. It's called Nicaragua. I've been living here in the US for the last 22 years, and I've been working for Copa since 2012. I started as a passenger service agent, just a regular type that you guys come to the airport, take you in, throw the bags in the belt, and then I started growing inside the company. Started growing as a supervisor, then a manager, and then I got invited to have a position in the sales team in 2018. After that, I was transferred to Los Angeles, but the pandemic hit, and we were stuck for 9 months with no flights, grounded airplanes, and then I received a call to join the sales teams here in Boston. So we have a specific person in each of the gateways that we have to be the person in charge of the sales in that area. So I was asked to come here and stay in Boston. So I have a small presentation, nothing big. Well, it's the type of presentations that we use to the travel agencies to sell ourselves as a company, as a product, because where you buying is a product that we offer. So I'm going to start with the presentation. As Carlos said, Copa it was founded on June 21st, 1944, with 2 small propelled airplanes doing domestic flights inside of Panama. And then in 1960s, they grew to their first international destination. It was Costa Rica, the neighbor, and then Colombia and Jamaica. And then they started growing little by little, and in 1989, we started our first US destination, that it was Miami. And it took some years to keep expanding the US, and in 2000, we started flying to Orlando and Los Angeles. And then little by little, we started growing until we now in the US have 17 gateways in the whole US and 2 in Canada. So at this moment, we have more than 85 destinations in 32 countries. The map won't see most of it, but you can see that we're expanded in all of the Americas. Our vision is to stay in America. We don't have any plans to grow outside the American continent, because what we're trying to do is to be the leader airline in the Americas. This is how we grow in the US. In 1989, we started the flight to Miami. Then, as I said, Orlando and Los Angeles in the 2000s. 2004, we went to New York, and then we started growing little by little. Washington, Chicago, Las Vegas, Boston in 2013. Tampa, Fort Lauderdale, San Francisco, Denver. And after the pandemic, we grow really slow because we were really careful to grow after the pandemic, because economically we were hit really hard. We didn't have any help from the government, and so the finances in the company were a little bit hurt. But we started growing after 2 years. We started with Atlanta, then Austin, Texas, then we went to Baltimore, and last year we did Raleigh. And in June this year, we started San Diego, California. So this is the 4 announced new destinations that we have. It has 2 for this year and 2 for next year. So this year we started San Diego and Tucumán in Argentina. And next year we're gonna start in January, Los Cabos, Mexico, and Puerto Plata in the Dominican Republic. As I mentioned and Carlos mentioned before, we started with 2 small airplanes, then we passed to 4 737-200s that were small planes with like a small engine that it looks like a missile, really long. And then we stayed with Boeing. We like to have only one type of aircraft because it's better for uniform the maintenance, and it saved costs. So we started on before the pandemic for Copa. It's before and after pandemic because we think that it's a new company after that. So before the pandemic, we had 19 airplanes. During the pandemic, we had to get rid of some aircraft. It was 11 that, to save some money, we had to let go. Because our airlines doesn't buy the airplane; they lease the airplanes. We own now most half of the fleet. Where normally what you do is that you lease the aircraft. After the pandemic in 2022, we had 87. Then we started growing little by little. We have a contract with Boeing that from here to 2028, they were going to deliver 68 aircraft. So they've been adding those aircraft to the fleet at this moment. We have 124. We have 4 types of aircraft, all Boeing 737s. We have 900 MAX, 737 MAX 9, then MAX 8, 737-800, and 700. We used to have these Embraers, but these ones we are only using it for small routes. For example, the domestic flights that we have inside of Panama, that is to David, we're doing it on those sort of aircraft. Right now, we have 59 Maxes. It's in between the Max 9 and the Max 8. On the Max 9, we have a special product that is called Dreams, that is the business class. That is the one that it goes flat on the seats, so you can take a nice, really nice sleep on long haul flights. This is the aircraft that we have. As I said, 737-800. The configuration, they go from small to larger. Then Boeing 737-8B, that it's less seats on the economic class, but it has more space on front. It's not like when you're traveling with Spirit that you have to be all like that. No, you have a lot of space. 737-900, that is the Dreams business class, and 900 with 12 on business class as well. And we recently added the 737 MAX 8, that it's smaller compared with the Max 9, but it has more distance to operate. So we're using those ones to the longest flights that we have. The 737 MAX 9, it's a better aircraft. It reduces the efficiency of fuel consumption for 15%. It has better the overhead bins. You don't have to put the bags laying down anymore. It can be on the side, so it fits more on there, and it has more spaces on the seats. And the engine has less sound, so it works better with the environment. This is the 3 cabins. Well, this is the cabins that we have, the Dreams, that it's the one that goes flat seat. Economy class, business, premium economy, that has the bigger screens on the seats, and that's from row 5 till 18th, and then from the back, you still have entertainment, but you will have to do it with your own either iPad or phone. You get connected to the internet inside the airplane, and you have all the library with songs, movies, series, and etc. Really quick video right here to show you the business class.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Alright, sorry. Don't worry. this aircraft, because it's the comfortable ones that we have, and it's, when you're flying 7, 8 hours, you rather have a nice sleep. So we have a product that is called Corporate, that we give discounts to big corporations that travel with us, and they normally use to go to Buenos Aires, Montevideo, or the longest flights. So that's the one that they rather choose, obviously, because they want their corporate people to have a nice sleep in the flight. This is the new terminal in the Panama airport. Well, we say new, but it's been operating since 2022, but it's still working on. They're still working on it. That it's the Terminal 2. This gave us 20 additional gates, so we can operate more flights now from Panama, because our hub is in Panama. So wherever you're coming from to, and wherever you're going from, you're going to stop in Panama. So if you're flying Miami to Bogota, you're going to go Miami, Panama, Panama, Bogota. You're going to do a really fast layover. Sometimes it's 40 minutes, sometimes in an hour and 30 minutes. But this terminal has helped us to do it really quick. You can go from the point of Terminal 2 to the point of Terminal 1 on the other side in a matter of 22, 23 minutes walking. But sometimes, normally, your flights are really close to each other. So this is the new terminal. It gives us a new VIP lounge. Now we have 2 in Panama, and those added to the ones that we have in Bogota, Colombia, Guatemala, San Jose, Costa Rica, and República Dominicana in Punta Cana. Economic impact of Copa in Panama, it's really big. The economic contribution generates over $1.6 billion a year. We estimate that this year, 2025, it's going to be a $1.8 billion contribution. Unemployment over 7,500 direct employment, and we're expecting to exceed the 8,000 in 2025, plus 1,500 new hires. Tourism, we operate 88 destinations in 22 countries, so we expect that we're going to move 18.5 million passengers. So we expect that from those 18.5, at least 185,000 passengers are going to use the stopover program and do tourism in Panama. So that economic impact is going to be really big. And we estimate 30,000 indirect jobs that it's generated through the suppliers and tourism services. So the impact of Copa in Panama is really big. And for me, that's a sad picture, because that was taken during the pandemic. So that means all those planes were doing anything. They was just stuck there. Our plans to continue growing on daily flights and passenger. On 2023, we surpassed the number of passengers compared to 2019. 2024, we have more daily flights than 2019. In 2019, we had 336 daily flights. In 2023, we went to 378, so we moved around 17.5 million passengers. And in 2025, we expect it to grow 27% and 11% more daily flights than 2023. So in 2025, at this moment, we have 395 flights, but we are expected to grow a little bit more. And this is how our fare families are distributed. I don't know if you guys know what that means. For example, low-cost carriers, what they do is they just, the perfect. They sell you the ticket, but they don't sell you anything. means that you have to purchase your own bag, your carry-on, everything. So, for example, Copa, it doesn't matter where you're sitting, you have a hot meal, free drinks, and always you have a free carry-on. Per families, because we have to compete with the low-cost carriers. So what we do is we divided the per family. So if you purchase an economy basic, you're always going to get a free meal because that's added. But the economy basic is non-refundable. You have to pay for a change. You have to pay for your seats. You have to pay for your premium seats. You get a free carry-on, but you have to pay for the bags. That's how we compete against the local carriers. Then you have an economy classic, so you have one bag for free. You have the first change for free if you do it 7 days prior to the original date, and you have to you get to choose your seats on the bag for free. And economy full, you get free refunds, so you can refund your ticket with no cost. The only thing that you're gonna discount is taxes that they're not refundable. 2 bags for free, 2 50-pound bags. Your carry-on changes, you can do any changes for free as well. And we also have business promo. That it's sometimes business promo is even cheaper than full on the economy, because it's more restrictive, but you're flying a business. So we had to, adjust to the new type of aircraft that are coming into the business, the low-cost carriers. And this is how we do it. And this is our stopover program. The stopover program gives you the opportunity to do 2 destinations in one. For example, if you're flying to Brazil or to Argentina and you want to stop in Panama and do some tourism as well with the same ticket, it won't cost you anything. The only it will cost you is $50 extra, but no more airfare. The only you're gonna pay is the $50 for taxes of the airport, and you can stay in Panama for 1 to 7 days. So you can go to Panama on your way in, stay 3 days, do some tourism, and then continue to your travel. And that gives you the opportunity to see the 2 countries in just 1 trip. And mira siempre al norte, en el horizonte, maravillas que el planeta esconde. El mundo te espera, te abre sus puertas, te enseña el camino. Para adelante podamos cantar, el abrazo que soñas en la distancia, Copa te lleva a donde vayas, desde el desierto hasta la montaña. Copa conecta con quienes amas y siempre te acerca a la gente que extrañas. Vuela contigo mientras navegas, alarga tus sueños, lentas dos alas. And by the way, Copa means Compañía Panameña de Aviación, that is translated to Panamanian Company of Aviation. And that's it. Any questions? Anybody has any questions? To choose where we're going to start flying, it takes like 3 or 4 hours, because it's a negotiation with for example, here in the US, with the US government. First, you have to negotiate what you're going to give them in exchange, and then you see that it makes sense, because you're not going to travel to a city that Copa, it's a Latin American company. So you're not gonna go to, for example, a city that doesn't have any Latinos living there. Because let's be honest, we want to bring the US market back to Latin America, but we're not gonna survive just trying to make them come. So what we need is a big community of Latin American people that is gonna make travel to that destination. So that's how we see if it makes sense or not. For example, if you open a route in Austin, Texas, what's gonna be your market? It's gonna be, for example, no, let's do it here, Boston. The market, it's Brazil. There's a lot of Brazilian, and our flight leaving Boston, it's full of people going to Belo Horizonte. So that's why you look first, where you're gonna move, where you're gonna move from one destination to another one. Someone else? Yes, sir?
You lost any gates, are you getting new gates at different airports and stuff like that?
You say gateways?
Yeah, you pulled back from any destinations that you felt like.
Yes. Yes. 10 years ago, we opened New Orleans, and it was one of the ones that we closed during the pandemic and never came back. And the other one was, well, it was in Brazil. One is coming back next year, Salvador Bahia, but the other one, Fortaleza, is not coming back as well. But here in the US, New Orleans. No more questions? Anyone else?
What is the strategy to compete with the big ones, with the American Airlines? Because they also travel from Miami to Panama.
Yes. How we compete against the big ones, we do it putting on big markets like Miami. Because American is gonna go from Miami to Panama, and that's it. And it's gonna bring the people from Panama to Miami, and then it's gonna connect. So how we compete is putting more flights from Miami to Panama, because then we go somewhere else. We bring people from Brazil, from Colombia, from Venezuela, from Nicaragua or Panama, and it's not only that we're flying Miami to Panama. The big scenarios that we're coming from Argentina to Miami, from Uruguay to Miami. So that's how we compete, putting more flights that it's bringing more people from some point A to point B that it's Panama, and then point C that it's Miami. And we try not to compete on their direct hubs. For example, United, Houston. We're not going to fly to Houston because it's their house. So we're not going to be using that route because you took the bear. So we try not to do that. For example, we open Raleigh instead of opening Charlotte in North Carolina, because Charlotte is one of the hubs of America. So another hand? Yeah.
How's it different than dealing with people like you do permits and everything here in the US and then like I don't know in Argentina or
Permits?
yeah, like how is the bureaucracy opening and different?
I'm not the best person to tell you that because I'm not involved on the of the openings and everything, but I can tell you what I've heard on the 12 years that I've been working in Copa. It's easier to work with the US government than Argentina, for example, because it's a smaller country that they ask more. What the US government asks you more is more security, more because they're always trying to protect themselves. So for example, if you are traveling from Miami to Panama and then Panama to Bogota, you go from one gate to another one and that's it. But when you're coming from Bogota to Panama and then you connect to Panama to the US, you have an extra security point at the gate. So all the gates that are using to go to US has to have an extra security at the gate. So that's something that US asks. For example, Argentina is not going to ask you security, it's going to ask you more money. So that's the difference between one and another. No one else?
Did you guys have any issues with Boeing a few years ago when they had a lot of issues with their?
Sorry?
Boeing had issues with their aircraft a few years ago, they tried to like ground the aircraft.
We had the issues with the Maxes, because when the Maxes came to fly, first we got the Maxes on 2019, and then the pandemic came. And then we started flying again, and they had the issue of that there were some concerns because they're starting to have some accidents with 737 MAX 8, the Ethiopian and Egypt Air, and they discovered that so the Max, what they did is that because it's a bigger plane and a powerful plane, what they did is that they moved this engine further to the wing, so so it makes the aircraft go higher, faster. So they put a mechanism that it's going to stabilize the aircraft every time that the airplane right here on the point has two like spades, small spades, that it's called point of attack. So when you moving the aircraft up, so the point of attack is moving too. So the system takes a message and the flaps by itself stabilize the aircraft. So what happened was that it was sending some error messages that the aircraft was going up, but it was being steady, but it was supposedly it was going up. So it was doing their job, that is lowering the aircraft. But because it wasn't going up, the aircraft was going down, 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 down. So they didn't know how to unplug it, so you don't have to start working with the airplane. So the airplanes were going down. So the FAA grounded all the Maxes for, I think it was for a year. And that was the first one. And then we had the issue with the doors on the back, that some of the screws were getting loose. That's not the airline problem. It's the manufacturers, the Boeings. So some of the screws were getting loose on the back of the airplane, and Alaska lost one of the doors in the air. So same thing, FAA grounded all the planes, and we had to ground it half of ours, because half of ours has those type of doors on the back, the other one doesn't. But we entered in negotiation with Boeing to get money for the aircraft that we were grounding. But yeah, we had some issues with the Max.
Yeah, so Boeing gave some kind of compensation.
Yes. Someone else? Yeah.
Is it like working for Copa to a lot of the employees like live in the US, or do they live in
The employees that work here at the airports live here in the US. Crew members live in Panama. You have to live in Panama to be a crew member for Copa. And then, yeah, we have headquarters people that, the top ones live in the US, but they work in Panama, so they travel Monday to Thursday and then coming back on weekends. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I used to be a chef. Food used to be my passion until I had a part-time job at the airport with Copa, and I get into this world, and I never did. Yes.
Is there any difference on the customers' expectations? Like people traveling from the US or from Canada to South America, or people coming from South America to the US? It's like
You always expect to have more than what you pay. So there's a lot of expectation. Sometimes you expect to have a better meal per se. That depends on your personality, I think. When I work at the airport, I deal with a lot of people. Brazilians were the worst. Any Brazilians here? Brazilians were the worst. Because here's the thing: in Brazil, you guys have a department that protects the buyer. Protects the consumidor, we call it in Spanish. And if you said something to a Brazilian or whatever, they go to that office and I feel ashamed. Okay, here you go. So Brazilians, they always expected more, and the other ones were Colombians, same thing. But yeah, that varies in the type of culture or person that you face that moment. All right, no more questions?
How many flights do you guys have from Boston to Panama every day?
Okay, every day we have a daily flight. We have a morning flight Monday to Friday, and then an afternoon flight Thursday to Sunday. So some days we have 2 flights.
Any other cities from the US, going from Boston, New York, and what else?
No, we go from point A to Panama. So we go from Boston to Panama, Miami to Panama. We have 17 gateways here in the US. We have Miami, Tampa, Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, Raleigh, Washington, Baltimore, New York, Boston, Chicago, Los Angeles, Denver, Las Vegas, San Francisco, Austin, Texas, and I think that's it. San Diego, yeah.
Do you have
So-
like a hub or central office in the US?
No.
I know that Panama is your hub.
Yeah. It used to be Miami, because Miami is the one who has more daily flights. We have 8 daily flights from Miami. And we used to have our corporate sales office in Miami, but after the pandemic, all the corporate started working from home. So we don't have any offices anymore. So basically our offices are at the airports.
But you work with the Star Alliance, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to expand internationally or maybe other continents. But I'm guessing that you have connections with the Star Alliance. If someone wants to buy a flight from Europe, they can buy one ticket to the US or somewhere.
Yes, what we do is, it's called code shares. For example, if you want to go Panama or Bogota to Madrid, you can buy a ticket going from Boston. You want to go to Europe, it doesn't make any sense because you go directly from here. But coming from Latin America, if you want to go to Europe, you can go Boston to Panama, Bogota to Panama, and then continue with another Star Alliance member. For example, Lufthansa, you can go from Panama to Zurich or Berlin or whatever, using the same code share. So it looks, you're selling the ticket to Copa, but at the end you're gonna see that under the Panama Berlin, it says operated by Lufthansa. But it's a ticket sold by Copa, and they just split the fares.
So what is the benefit of working airlines, like for the employees?
Benefits for working on airlines, it used to be better before the pandemic. You used to get more. Now most of the airline subcontract their employees, so they don't have to pay vacations, insurance, travel benefits. But when you're working on airlines directly with the company, for example with American, that's the best one. Because of the benefits. You get free tickets. You can go to Tokyo for $35 on first class.
Just for one ticket or
for one ticket, round trip ticket.
like in a year one ticket or is there a limit?
Limit. For example, me working in Copa, I can use my tickets whatever I want to. But they're expensive. It's $68. But if I want to travel with my wife, it's a little bit more expensive, and she only gets 2 vacation ones. That is the free ones. That is $68. The rest of the tickets are going to be like 120, 135. But with American or Delta or United, it's unlimited.
How the impact of the ownership in the area? Because at Copa, it's a family, the owner,
Yeah.
the motor, Stanley and the
Mhm.
family. And other airlines are more corporate
Mhm.
and more diverse management structure. So how do you see that operating in Copa and operating is more about the culture, Panamanian culture and the family culture into Copa, or is more now that operating the whole region is more kind of a regional culture inside Copa?
I think it makes a difference because I used to work in America too, and when you are run by a corporation, you're just a number, and you're here to do your job and don't do it extra because you're gonna get in trouble. That what happened to me on American. I was working for Copa as a supervisor, and I loved my job because I always trying to help the people, trying to help the customer. And then I was duty manager on New Orleans, so I got laid off when we closed the station for 6 months. So those 6 months I went to work with American, and I was trying to do the same thing I was doing in Copa. No, you're here to do this and don't do extra because that's not your job. And so you see the difference when it's run by a family. They do have a board of investors and everything, but you can see how that warmth from the family and everything goes down to the company. Difference is that you're just a number and that's it. And that reflects on the passenger service and the culture of the airline as well. All right. Thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure. So if anything, I don't know if you have my information.
Yeah.
Nicaragua, Honduras, and Guatemala in Central America. And to be honest, Panama is 35, 50 years away from Nicaragua and the rest of the region because they had so much work in the infrastructure, in everything, to be honest. Economically, they're way ahead of us. Yeah. But it's a beautiful country to go visit. They have some wonders. The Panama Canal is really impressive. You can see the ships coming from the Pacific to the Atlantic, right? And you can see because the Atlantic is higher than the Pacific, so they level the water so they can continue the trip. It's amazing. Yeah. So if you get the chance to go to Panama, you should go.
Everybody doesn't get the chance, everybody can go in January.
And fly Copa, so you can go directly.
Thank you very much.